Welcome to the Just Music Podcast. I am your host, Jalen Williams. The guest that we have on this interview today, really looking forward to this conversation as he is a well-accomplished mastering engineer in the recording industry of music. His name is Jeremy Lubsey, and his accomplishments in music is really, really nice. He is an engineer at the True Phonic Recording Studio based here in Charleston, South Carolina. He's worked with artists like Nora Jones, Chris Morrissey, Josh Dion. He's also worked with Dirty Dave, Steve Cardenas, Peter Leo. He's also an instrumentalist as he's played alto saxophone. He went to school at the Hart School of Music and the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And on top of that, he is a frequent partner, collaborator with the very talented and also very well accomplished Vlado Meller. I know I didn't cover everything in his introduction because he's so well accomplished, but Jeremy, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me. It's definitely an honor to be interviewed for sure. This is definitely my first time, so it's a true honor for sure.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. We're glad and happy to have you on. So let's just get into it, man. I did a little bit of research on you. I know that at the age of 9, you started playing the alto saxophone, and
Yes.
you pretty much grew up with music. But talk a little bit about at what point in your development did you decide music is, yeah, this is something that I want to pursue as a career? And where did the interest in engineering come about?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny, interesting thing that I think about, when I look back. Um, Music has always been there, of course, since 9. I always enjoyed going to my music classes and practicing and, starting out not good at something when I'm practicing and then slowly kind of chipping away at it. So that's always what kept me there and just being a fan of the music in general. Once I kind of got to high school, um, I found out I was more interested in just the sound of things. Even if I didn't really necessarily like the record or, if it was maybe a pop music or something like that. I had my first car, which had a little 8-inch subwoofer in it. But like if it sounded good, that definitely resonated to me. So that kind of got me into the uh thinking about the recording side of things in high school. Knew nothing about how to pursue it. My brother was into production, who was older than me. So naturally, as the younger brother, I got into production as well. We got a little Yamaha keyboard for one Christmas and making beats on it. And of course, wanted to be Dr. Dre and Kanye West at the time. So those little things along the way, um, like in hindsight, I didn't realize what was happening at the time, but it was all kind of touch points that eventually led up to me being like, okay, this is something I want to pursue going on to college. Looking for college. I guess junior year was when I started looking at colleges seriously and looking at music programs and even marketing programs and business programs. But once I found out, you could major in like the recording arts, which was still, it wasn't a brand new field, but it wasn't widely available everywhere. So once I realized, I can actually pursue this as a major, that's when it kind of kicked into high gear for me.
Right.
And when I got there, I was like, you know what? I can't really see myself doing anything else.
Right. No, that's very, very cool, especially when you talk about how you also had an interest in production and you mentioned your brother also
Yeah,
got into production and making beats. And Dr. Dre, Kanye West, I mean, two of some of the greatest producers to ever live.
yeah,
And you talked about how growing up, you had a very deep appreciation for the sound of the music.
yeah,
Like understanding frequencies, understanding effects, and understanding, reverb and gain
right.
and understanding compression, all those different nuances and tools that we use to make music sound the way it does when it's released on an album, or you hear it on the radio, you hear it in the club, or you hear it at a wedding, or wherever. And it understanding music from an engineering aspect, it's very much, I mean, music in general is like a science. It's a creative science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but understanding from an engineering aspect, there's a lot of studying. There's a lot of definitely training the ear. I remember
Yeah.
visiting some studios and talking to engineers, and they talked about how that you have to be able to listen beyond what everybody else is hearing.
Right.
You
Right.
have to be able to, you know, if in a song that y'all say y'all are listening to a drum pattern, the singer, they may just be listening to the beat, the rhythm. They want to figure out how their voice is going to flow on top of that. The drummer is listening to, okay, I like what I'm doing there, but how can I change up the rhythm, or did I go too fast there, or whatever? The engineer
Right.
is like, I need to know what is the delay time between this person's
Yeah.
this person hitting their foot on the kick drum, and I also need to know if the clarity on that snare and the hi-hat is what I want it to be. And it's really, really
Exactly.
cool because everybody in the studio, y'all are working on this one song or one album or one project, and everybody understands their role. So with you
Yeah. Yeah.
to bring it all home, you going to school and getting a BA in music, focusing on recording technology. Can you talk about that experience and what that was like for you, immersing yourself in that area of music and
Yeah.
getting real? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience. For 4 years I was just in an environment um where music was, as accessible as water, or as work. Some people go to work and every day, just to provide. I was able for 4 years just to go to work and just get this experience of all kinds of music. So of course I'm studying the saxophone at the time, and I'm kind of learning about performing, even though I'm not a performance major. Playing in the jazz band, playing in the wind ensemble, and then at nights or whatever, we would learn recording, or not necessarily at nights, but just classes on, recording theory. At nights we would practice that and record ourselves, record our friends. Even some of the ensembles that I was in, the rehearsals took place in the recording studio. So I was able to put kind of merge those two together. Of course, I had my theory classes as well, to kind of, I was able to understand the kind of 360 aspect of the whole process that comes together in a recording, from the arrangement to the production side of things. Um, and with that too is, the universities, my university, and I'm pretty sure all of them do, they would have performance days where, concerts from maybe the local professional artists in the community, to come through and just perform at the college, and it's open to the public. And of course, us as students, we would have to sign in and, have a minimum of, say, I don't know if this was the actual quota, but say attend 12 concerts a semester. By the end of the semester, I probably had like 36 to 50 concerts I attended, just to get that ear and or get that sound in my ear, of what good music sounds like. Yeah, I remember one of my teachers back in the day would tell me, or I was in band class at the time, so he would tell us where it's like it's very important just to work out your ear by going to these concerts where we're bringing in professionals for you to hear. Back in elementary school, you'll have an oboe player that would sound like a duck. Or whatever. Growing up with that, you got to realize oboes shouldn't sound like a duck. So they'll bring in a